Welcome to the Apex Sunday podcast. I'm your host, Robert Ross, and my co host is John Dowsett. And John, we're going to talk about the Thai Grand Prix of 2026 for MotoGP. And, it's great to talk to you again, although I have to say, with a day like we're experiencing today in Canada, I feel like taking off all my clothes and running through the park because it's just been that kind of winter. But I don't want to go to jail, so I'll talk to you instead. So,
I think
how
you
are
can get
you?
away with it. I think you can get away with it if you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Claim some mental issues or something and
exactly,
go from there.
exactly.
So I want to start with a quick look at the top three of qualifying. Bez was 0.035 ahead of Mark, and then Fernandez was just shy of 2/10 from Bez. So a very, very close top three in qualifying. And the Aprilias, right off they're looking great, aren't they?
Out of the gate, out of the gate. Hey, KTM isn't looking that bad either.
Especially with Pedro. The
Yeah,
Brad did okay. The Tech Trois was way back, but perhaps they suffered some setup problems or something. But the thing about the Aprilia is they've taken the McLaren F-Duct idea. So have you read about this?
I have not.
Okay, so the arrow going down the straight, what the rider does is they crouch down, obviously, as they always do for better aerodynamics. And now their arms or their forearms cover a couple of vents, which redirect the airflow on the straight. And then on the corners, the vents are open, so it helps the downforce on the corner.
They've got
And
DRS.
yeah, and you're not allowed to have movable devices, but the rider can move just like the F duct.
Brilliant,
So
brilliant.
I suspect that Ducati in particular will be copying that as soon as possible. You only get one change of fairing for the season, and usually it's kind of halfway through. I have a feeling that a lot of teams will move up their fairings to try this F duct idea, especially if Aprilia is way ahead every race. So we'll see about that. But yeah, it's a brilliant idea and good for them. Um, Usually it's Ducati that innovates in this area, but Aprilia is, when we first did this podcast and I first introduced you to MotoGP, I said about Aprilia that they're the team to go to end your career. And now, what a difference.
Yes, yes.
And you've been around motorsports for years, so you've seen this sort of up and down from manufacturers all the time, right? So
Absolutely.
uh, right now, for example, Yamaha, way at the bottom. So, but we'll talk about them later. Uh, Before we get into the sprint and race, I will say that what stood out to me is Mark, Pedro, and Mir way ahead of their teammates again, um, really distinguishing themselves. Obviously, Mark and Mir had tire problems in the main race, but they were high up. Mir not so high up, but he's on a Honda, so he was doing pretty well. And then Pedro, I mean, at the end of last season, I was really impressed by Pedro. And let's go right into the sprint. Great sprint, the Mark Pedro battle after Bez's fall. What did you think of that?
I thought the fall was tragic.
Yeah,
Uh, I really did. I mean, the poor guy.
happens all the time, though, doesn't it, in
It
MotoGP?
does. It does.
Mm-mm.
But, he was all by himself, wasn't he? Really? I mean, he's just
He would
pushing
he
a little
would he
bit too
would have
hard.
been, yeah.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, the dicing was phenomenal,
Hmm.
and watching Mark do his magic. He didn't belong up there.
Yeah, he's not fully fit either. You can see he looked gaunt and his shoulder isn't quite there yet. So that's why again I pointed out those three as distinguishing themselves compared to their other teammates. And Mir in particular, because the Honda's starting to get better, I kind of knew he would start to flourish as soon as he had a good bike. So he's not in the class of Pedro or Mark, but he is in a high class once he's got a good bike. So I'm looking forward to him doing well.
We did
Um,
predict that.
yeah, yeah. So nice to see that. What did you think of the Mark Pedro incident?
Initially I was really angry. I thought this is just a ridiculous penalty.
Hmm.
Um, I watched it 3 or 4 times, and by the book, he deserved the penalty. But
Yeah,
eh, no, no, it's one of those things where you've got to let that go. I mean, that's just plain racing,
yeah.
and you know, yeah. So I thought that was kind of criminal, but what are you going to do?
And the other thing is, Pedro said he would have done the same, and all the riders basically said, we should let that pass. And if
Hmm.
you look at the incident, Pedro isn't shoved off the course. What he does is he reacts and drives off course as
Yeah.
a reaction. I mean, it's a natural reaction, of course, but uh, and Mark afterwards did that sarcastic clap to the to the stewards
Yeah.
because he was fine with getting this seating the spot, but he wanted it earlier in the lap just to possibly pass again. But superb way to start the season. The sprint was spectacular, and I remember the beginning of last season. You said after the first race, this is probably going to be a boring season because
Yes.
the Marquez brothers dominated last race last season.
Yes.
Um, so uh, yeah, the incident. I was reminded of when Lewis Hamilton slowed down Nico Rosberg to try to prevent Nico from winning the championship that year. I was watching that and thinking, that's not that's not right. And then afterwards, the driver said, "Yeah, I would have done that." So it's one of those things where I don't know where to go with this, but most of the riders in this case said he didn't deserve it, but it's on the very edge.
It's on
Um,
the edge, but at the same time, we want to go and see great racing, and that's
mhm.
great racing. And if
Well,
you want
remember, Mark?
if you want to penalize them, then you're taking away the great racing.
Yes,
Don't do it. I mean, let these
exactly.
guys, ply their trade.
Well, you
Yeah.
remember, was it Bastianini did the same to Martin a season or two ago when Bastianini was on the Ducati and pushed him aside, and there was no penalty. So it's we've seen it in F1 too. The penalty systems. I mean, there was a time when we didn't have these penalty systems and this constant wah 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 complaining. So find a way to fix this nonsense would be a good message
It's
that I'd
it's
put out.
it's back to the track limits discussion, long discussion that we had numerous times.
Yes.
And track limits are track limits. You're gonna go at the track, you're gonna have that offense. Sorry, you're done.
Yeah.
And there's a way they can measure it, and there's a way that they can
Mm.
and now with AI and cameras, I don't see that there's any reason why they can't make it hardcore. But I think it's going to destroy racing.
Yeah.
There has
It
to be a gray area.
Yeah, because I remember you've seen like Brad Binder like just touch the green and then boom, he loses a podium. It's like, come on, you didn't gain that much time.
Yeah.
This kind of thing. And I think the decision was quick in this case because they don't want a post race change of like say Mark wins
And it's the
and they
first
change it.
race.
But you know what? If they had talked to both the riders post race and they had no problem with it, then the results wouldn't have changed. And if they had a problem with it, then change the results. Just live with it. Don't Who cares about the backlash of changing afterwards? You're gonna have a backlash regardless because we live in the backlash age at the moment, don't we?
Yes.
So yeah. The race I thought was a very good race. We had Bez was untouchable, so he went out and went away from everyone. But we had that Pedro Martin Mark battle. We
Hmm.
had Iogura making his way up through the field. Um, it wasn't as spectacular as the sprint, but it was a good, solid race, and I enjoyed it. We had, of course, Mir had tire problems, and Mark somehow damaged his rim, and he was out of the race. Uh, but again, he was riding way above the rest of
I
the
don't think
Ducati
I
riders.
don't think he damaged his rim. I think he had a tire problem, and then when he whacked the curb, that's what damaged the rim.
Right,
But
could be.
when was the last time you saw a tire blow?
Yeah, it's very, very rare
Yeah,
in MotoGP in particular. So, yeah. And again, we had Fernandez, who again won Phillip Island last season. And we're like, well, they've given this guy a few years of a chance. And is he going to be able to now be consistent? And so far, it appears to be the case. So, anytime there's another rider up at the top dicing, it's more fun for the rest of us, I think.
oh
So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So, anything about the race that stood out for you?
Bagnaia. I mean,
Strange. Again. Yeah.
wow. Now, and you know what? He's a world champion. So
Mhm.
what happened? Seriously, what happened? I
Yeah.
and has he just lost it?
I don't know. It's very peculiar. And I guess that brings us to sort of the rumor mill kind of thing. And well, before that, Yamaha uh, suffering with the new V4, the new chassis. They've got Top Rack from Superbike, a three-time world champion, having a very difficult time adapting to MotoGP, especially on the worst bike, which
Hmm.
which doesn't help. But in a way, it might help because it lowers the expectations, and then he can just continue to develop and grow in quiet kind of thing. So hopefully that's the case. But that leads into all the rumors before and all the contracts. So the rumor is that Martin is going to Yamaha, and that hasn't been confirmed. Yes, exactly. But the way that Aprilia talks about, well, they've already signed Bezecchi for another 2 years, and they had a little wedding kind of thing going on where he married his bike. um, but they talk about, well, the other teammate, we're going to give time, we're going to look, and I don't think they want Martin anymore. Um, and I think if he goes to Yamaha, what is he thinking? Is he sort of the Fernando Alonso of MotoGP, moving to the wrong teams at the wrong time? Because he did
No,
pretty well
I don't
this
think so.
race.
I don't think you can compare the two. I don't think you can compare the two in that there was a lot more going on with Alonso. He was a jerk and burned all his bridges, and I don't think that's Martin in any which way, shape, or form.
Oh, you don't think he
Um,
burned a little bridges with Aprilia trying to move to Honda last season, and now sort of the rumors of Yamaha?
well, who's starting the rumors?
I don't know.
You know,
The Honda thing was definitely something they tried to do, though, and that would have burned the bridge for me. They seem to rebuild it, and then these rumors about going to Yamaha. Oh, we'll see, but kind of a
who's got the
crazy thing
money?
to do.
Who's got the money?
That's the
Right?
reason.
Yes.
Aprilia doesn't.
Right. So if I can't get a top ride, Martin's thinking if I can't get a top ride, I want the top buck.
Yeah. Although,
And I'll ride around on a bicycle if you pay me enough money.
but with Aprilia, he does have a top ride, so he may regret
Yes.
that. But we'll see if it
Yeah.
happens. But
Hmm.
that's why Fabio didn't. That's why Quartararo rejected Aprilia's offer and went to Yamaha because Yamaha said, "Here's 20 million euros. Stay with us." And Fabio's a young guy. He's like, "Okay, I'll do that. I'll
Yeah.
get the money in the bank." I mean, you can't blame him. Wouldn't we all love to have had 20 million euros when we were 20 years old? And
Made for life. Made for life. And
um,
and you know what? He's up against Bezecchi, right?
yeah, yeah,
And Bez is hot.
he is.
So
Yeah. Credit to Bez for leaving his comfortable environment with VR46 and leading the Aprilia team. And he's developed into a great rider. And I think there's going to be some great races between him and Mark and whomever else, Pedro as well, Martin when he gets up there. So looking forward to that.
Well,
Uh,
will he though? I mean, will Ducati be able to do that? I don't know. I don't know.
well, Mark will, though, to an extent, I think. So
I hope so.
the other rumor is Fabio to Honda again. Probably they're definitely moving up compared to Yamaha. Although next season is completely new engine, completely new bike, completely new formula, as it
Right.
were. But again, Honda has money. But I'm surprised he didn't try to go to Ducati. Maybe Ducati said, "Oh, we'll take you, but here's what we'll offer you." And he's, let's move elsewhere. So, and then the other rumor is Pedro to be Mark's teammate next season. And frankly, I'd like to see that. I'd hope that
Wow.
happens.
Wow.
Would you like that to happen?
Got to be amazing. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, Bagnaia
Bagnaia to Aprilia is the big rumor, to join his friend Bez and try to rebuild from there. So, and it's all being held up apparently by Mark, whose shoulder still isn't right, and he's
right.
like, I don't want to sign yet. So once he signs, that'll the dominoes will fall, right?
Yeah.
But Mark and Martine, the injuries they've had, the battering their bodies have had. Martine's is a bit younger. I don't see Mark being in MotoGP much longer, just because of his body giving up basically in the punishment.
But in the last few years, we've seen him change his style,
Yeah, that's
and
true.
and he's faster.
Hmm.
He's more predictable.
Yeah.
He's more thinking. He's more strategic.
Hmm.
Not crashing as often. Um, and so who knows? It's he doesn't have the joy he had last year, where it was a boring year to a certain extent last year. We'd watch him go out and hang around third, hang around fourth, hang around
Yeah.
second, just and then in the last 10 laps, just turn up the wick and just drive by everybody.
Hmm.
Um, he doesn't have that now, so
Yeah.
that might put him in a different riding style.
True. Well, what I think though is what I meant basically is that with so many races, the risk of injury just being hit by someone else and crashing is high. So I hope that's not the case. It may have been a bit boring last season, but you and I love seeing a
It was a
absolute
great season.
incredible racer
Yes,
in action. I mean,
and there was great dicing throughout the field,
yeah,
right? So,
but
and that's what it's all about.
for me, like I said, I didn't grow up watching Gilles Villeneuve, and for me, Mark is just like, how can this guy do this kind of stuff? So I really enjoy that. The last thing I want to talk about is Phillip Island. This being the last race there this season, the locals tried to get it back, and Liberty Media put out a statement that they haven't updated the facilities enough. What they mean by that is not the grandstands, the track. They mean they want some facilities to host rich people.
Galas.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and we're we're losing Phillip Island for that reason. I'm very upset about that. It's a great circuit, one of the greatest circuits for motorcycle racing. What are your thoughts on that?
it's the same old, isn't it? I mean, Canada
Mhm.
lost Mostport. Canada lost one of the greatest tracks in the world for that very same reason.
Right.
Um, just because of marketing, just because of yeah, and we've lost a whole bunch of tracks beautiful tracks around the world in all kinds of motorsports, just for that
Hmm.
very reason. And unless you're a Spa or a Monaco or a Nürburgring, you're just gonna it's just gonna go to grass. I mean,
Yeah.
I could name off 10 tracks right now that if you were to go visit them, you'd see grass growing through them, through the tarmac.
And the thing is, they want to move it to Adelaide for a street race on motorcycles, which is so I just don't get what the
No,
hell is going on. I don't
marketing.
know if that's, yeah,
It's
but
marketing.
will that actually happen? I don't know. But, uh, you know, MotoGP has a problem, or at least, for instance, Aprilia, they don't have a major sponsor. Liberty Media will probably help them get one. But it strikes me when I look at Formula One sponsorship, most of it is business to business now, not business to consumer. And I know there's always been an element of that, but I think it's
Hmm.
turned up huge now. Just like this, we've got to have facilities to host the rich people is
Right,
turned up to the max now. So
right.
um, it's kind of not for the fans anymore in
No,
many ways, isn't it?
no,
Um,
no. It's
so
business, and it is for the fans, but it's event management now.
yeah.
And part of that event management is if I'm going to get um, how am I going to sell sponsorship?
Mm.
And the CEOs want to bring their top clients, which are other CEOs, to the race,
Yep.
and they want to have them in a gala environment of a
Yep.
box that has models serving them,
Yeah.
you know, incredible food, and yeah, it's
Yeah.
and
I
that's where
mean,
it's gone.
even when you were racing, were you had to, I don't know, you probably enjoyed it. Like you rode around you drove some people around for that same kind of reason, right?
Right, right.
Yeah.
That's how I got my sponsorship.
Yeah.
And yeah, you have to play that game. But now the dollars are just so huge to
Mm.
compete. It's just a different realm.
And when you did that, did you have to socialize with them much, or were you just sort of get in the car and I'm going to scare you kind of thing? Or did you have
No,
to like kowtow
no,
with them for a while?
there's definitely socializing and goodies and luncheons and that kind of stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, and you were
Hmm.
able to do that.
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
All right.
It was all written into the budget.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So what's up next? We have Brazil, the Senna circuit, or so-called Senna circuit.
Right.
So a new circuit. They've raced there years and years ago, I think in the mid '80s. So looking
Have
forward
you
to
looked
that.
at it?
Not much, no. I'm just
No.
going to wait to see it when it happens.
So
And
that's the 20th of March.
okay, well, I'll see you then, and talk to you soon. Bye bye.
Thanks, Rob.
Cheers.